Hi, everyone. We're here at the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver. I am with Brad Kitchen, president of ESGold. Brad, thanks so much for being with us today.
Peter, thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure. And ESGold has an exciting story. I really want to help you get that story out. And why don't we just kick things off with having you give us sort of a 30-second pitch, give us an overview of ESGold, who it is, who you are, what you do.
Sure. 30-second pitch, I'll probably take 3 minutes.
That's okay.
But on the elevator pitch is very simply, we're totally different than any other junior resource company out there. ESGold is actually going to go into production first and then do exploration on its Montauban site. What we're going to do is we're going to process tailings from what was a mine for 80 years. We're going to be extracting silver, we're going to be extracting gold, and we're going to be extracting mica. That cash flow is in a 1 million ton tailings of sand. It is currently it's toxic, but once we process it, it will no longer be toxic. So that's the ESG and ESGold. We will be processing where we have a mill. We've just started construction about a week ago. And we will be processing by the end of the year at a rate of about 500 tons per day, going to 1,000 tons per day. And that will give us processing of the tailings alone over the next 3.5 years, bringing in revenue of roughly 100 million Canadian.
You're right. That is very different from your typical junior. Totally different.
It is. Yeah. No, and once the best part about that is once we get into production, we're then going to start the exploration. Fantastic. And that's all funded internally.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely. So good. Thank you. That is well, it's not 3 minutes and it's not 30 seconds, but we're in between there somewhere. Yeah. You did a great job. How much metal will the tailings remediation be producing? You did tell us what the cash flows would look like in terms of maybe volumes of metal over the 3-4 years of that whole process.
Well, in total, it's about $35 million from gold, silver, and mica.
Right.
The gold, small number of ounces, it's about 15,000. Silver, 700,000, and a whole bunch of mica.
Good.
Yeah.
And mica, maybe you can just tell us very quickly that I believe is sort of a construction resource. Is that right?
Construction resource. It's got a variety of uses. One big use for it is actually in drilling.
Oh.
Yeah, so it acts as a lubricant, and there's a lot of drillers in Quebec. So we've got actually a very good market for it, plus a very good processing plant that's not far from us.
Excellent. Things are lining up very nicely.
Very well.
Why don't you tell us what is the potential to expand on mine life? We're talking about initially 3 to 4 years. How far can it go from there?
Peter, that's a really good question. So it is interesting that we're starting with production, 3.5 years. That's literally stuff that's on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We have had historic resources from 0 to 30 meters that have shown that we have about another $235 million worth of gold.
Wow.
Just in one small sector. But more importantly, by education, I'm a civil engineer. And civil engineers, what they do is they like starting with a good foundation. Montauban, the actual underground, doesn't have a good foundation. What we're going to do is build that foundation by doing a very systematic, methodical model of the gold resource. In fact, in the next 3 weeks, we're coming out with a new survey. This is brand new technology, Peter, that can actually go from 0 to 800 meters and will give you the structure of the geology. That's going to be the basis of our foundation, and we'll build from there and hopefully expand the mine life for the next 15 to 20 years.
Wow, that would be something. So ESGold's operations will be, from my understanding, will be a remediation project. In other words, you're cleaning up, as you mentioned, what are toxic tailings today, doing a favor for the city, for the town, doing a favor for shareholders. Is this process repeatable? Is this something that you can take and look at potentially other projects around the province and then leverage up that way?
Yes. Let me get into a bit more detail. You did say something, though, and you said it's favorable for the city, favorable for shareholders. We couldn't have a better partner than the city of Montauban. They have wholly embraced what we're doing. We are coming in, we are creating about 30 or 40 jobs, which isn't a ton, but it's very good for a city that doesn't have an industry now.
Right.
It's a beautiful part of the world. There is some good tourism. It's a great town. So us coming in there, it's very symbiotic relationship. Shareholders are our partners. They're the ones that have funded our work, our operations, allow us to do what we're doing. Yes, it will be very good for the shareholders. We're doing an okay job. 9 months ago when I came on, we had a 3 million market cap. Today, 9 months later, we're at a 35 million market cap. We've raised $5 million. We've started construction of the circuit. So we've done very well, but we don't think we're close to being finished. In Quebec, there's over 270 abandoned mines. Once we finish proving out Montauban, we've identified 60 that could probably use the same process, of which we've identified 3 or 4 abandoned mines that we'd like to go and acquire very quickly. Wow. So, yes, it is scalable. We will be going to the government. We will be working with the First Nations. I'm excited about that. But job one is to get in production, and we hope to do that by the end of 2025.
Excellent. So that's something that almost no junior can say, is how fully permitted and very close to production.
Correct. And with the exploration, the company is not only going to self-fund, but we'll also get the tax rebates.
Oh, right.
And we're not going to have to go to the market. We're not going to do that drill a hole, get the assay results, raise the money so you can drill a hole, get the assay results, raise some more money.
Exactly.
It's all going to be internal.
Super. This was a productive mine historically, like decades, in fact. It produced a lot of silver.
Yep.
Fair bit of gold,
mm-hmm.
some base metals. This is, from my understanding, a VMS district. And so maybe you can speak a little bit to what the exploration upside might look like.
Well, we think there's a ton of potential. The mining that was done at Montauban was literally follow the vein. As I mentioned before, there's never been a model done. We're taking a very systematic approach of building that model. We feel that, and the old mine only went to 200 meters, and they only stopped because gold went to $200. There has to be something else. VMS goes to depth. Usually it's in clusters. So just from that alone, we think there's a really good potential to expand. In addition, we've done this before.
Mm-hmm.
We had some success on a relatively large project. It was called the Windfall Lake. We took it when it was on care and maintenance. And in 5 years, I raised about $30 million, did the exploration with a fantastic team. We then did a bankable feasibility study in only 5 years. That went to Cisco, and they just recently sold the same project for $1.6 billion. So we're hoping to emulate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So at least certainly the history of success is there.
Yes.
And the experience is there. The team is there. And so now it's time to leverage up and move it forward and look for some potential new successes and repeat.
Well, I think one of the successes, Peter, is having you write about us. It's really important to get the message out, and the fact that you've embraced what the company wants to do, everything from the ESG side, and I know some people don't like using the term now, but it's prudent governance, to how we're going to be working with the city and how we'll be actually advancing the shareholders' value.
Again, this is a rare type of setup, of situation, and I wrote about ESGold because I believe that it has merit and people need to know about it. And one of the things that stands out for me is when I start telling people about ESGold, how few people who are familiar with mining companies and opportunities in the mining sector know about ESGold. That says to me that there's a lot of potential interest from mining investors, but given the volumes of share trading every day of ESGold, there's already a fair bit of interest, and that's most likely from outside of the mining industry. So it's interesting how we can now bring a whole new set of, potentially bring in a whole new set of investors and help drive this even higher and better forward.
Well, you're a huge help towards doing that. That's a really cool comment. We have attracted a lot of investors. We even got to one stage where we had 50,000 site visits on our website in one day. That's more than most retailers.
Absolutely.
So we have been attracting a different market. We haven't been excluding the mining market or the resource market. So now it's time to exploit that as best we can.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for this overview of ESGold. It's been a pleasure. And I think that, everybody's watching should have a look, help crash your site once again.
That's right. Exactly.
Drive lots of traffic and dig in, download the presentation, read through it, get to understand the company better, doing some great stuff. And we can look forward to some exciting times over the next several quarters and we'll beyond.
Yeah, no, and thank you, Peter. And the one message I'd have for people out there is, take a look at the website, buy a few shares, be part of the team right now. So we expand over the next 2 years. You'll be able to say, hey, I was there when.
Exactly.
So thanks, Peter.
Pleasure.